So we've got a standing hip shift on an elevated surface. You can hold a kettlebell or your dumbbell at your chest if you want to add that, but for now, probably try it just body weight, because shifting hips is something that people are not amazing at. So we're going to work on that. So you're going to need a surface that's anywhere between 2 and 3 inches. This is a little high, but I'm going to make it work. So I'll show you a frontal angle, a side angle, and a back angle. So there are 2 parts to this. First, stand up onto the plate. Then from here, notice how this leg is just dangling. Then let this hip hike as you tap your heel to the ground and try to keep your leg relatively straight, right? See how my knee is just a tiny bit bent just because I needed to do that. Try to not shift too far back into the hips, but it's going to happen because we need to create space on that posterior hip capsule, okay? Then from here, you're going to push into your left foot to rise. Okay, you're going to feel some really deep feelings in that left hip. First tap, rise. I like to do a little bit of a reach just because it helps me feel like I'm a little counterbalancing. Inhale. So I'll show you from the back. Look at the oblique angle that I'm creating here. Okay, notice how this hip is going to be high and this hip is going to be low. If you're a person that tends to hip shift into a squat with your right hip up like this, then you want to be a person that does this for this particular exercise. Okay, and I'll assign that to you depending on what's going on, or I might give you both sides. We'll see. So I shift more into my right hip when I squat. My right hip is slightly elevated when I squat. It's very subtle, but I have it. So I'm going to stand up onto the box, start like this, tap the heel to the ground, rise. Pull my left hip up, tap, rise. I'm trying to create space here and here, deep inside the hip socket. And just so you can see from the side on how I pull my hip back just a little bit. If you want, you can keep your hands on your hip bones. Okay? So that's part 1. You can add a skim to it. So you'll see what I mean by that. So start standing up onto the plate or book whatever you got. From here, shift into the right hip or whatever hip is elevated. Tap. Then right knee goes forward as the inner edge of your foot comes out to the side. Okay? And then skim the ground as you rise in reverse. First shift, downshift, and then skim the ground to tap. Now bend your right knee as needed, okay? Keep the knee stacked over your toes. So that means you're gonna have to pull the right hip back a little bit to make space. Skim, rise. So from the back. If you want, you can wear socks, so you can actually do some proper skimming. Inhale to come down. Hold to skim. Skim back. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Okay? So add the skim if you can. If, when you do the shift, it feels like enough, just do that and then let me know if that was enough or if you added the skim. Okay? That's all.